Hey everyone, welcome to the Wednesday 28th of January 2026 crypto update. It's been a while since we've done one of these, and that's mostly because it's been incredibly boring and nothing has happened. So let's just break it down, and then we can talk about why I think it's getting more interesting now. So first things first, as you can see, we had the yearly on Bitcoin, and 6%, -6% on the year, big wicks on both sides. Not sure there's too much there for me. Monthly sitting in the air. Let's do the quarterly. Quarterly's stuck in this little consolidation from the start of 2025, but I still don't think on the monthly or the quarterly you're going to see too much for me. It's still all the way down at 69 to 71. So weekly, slightly more interesting. So what's our takeaway? So monthly to yearly, no real ranges at this area. No real support at this area. In there. Weekly, it's a bit more interesting. Weekly's formed a consolidation. Technically, just above, the last time it dipped, had a bit of resistance here. But honestly, that's a bit of a nothing to me. I don't think that's that important. I think it's a bit random. It could have stopped at 86k, could have gone down to 77. So I don't think that's something I would have picked up or something I trust. The range loss at 92-ish is still the most interesting thing to me, as well as the fake reclaim, but whether it reclaimed or not really depends on how you draw this and which exchange you're using, which is a bit frustrating. But so I don't think the USDC chart is the be-all end-all. I think kind of the Coinbase flat chart is probably the most relevant one, because that's where the demand is coming from. So we had a fake attempt, a fake reclaim, or in a reclaim attempt that got rejected from the range breakdown. Obviously it's done range, technically range out here, but for me, I think this kind of 92 to 107 is solid and is played out effectively, and we're below it. So below 92k, broken down, and until we reclaim it, just not interested. Don't think there's there's no technical reason to buy it. There's other reasons, which we'll go into in a minute, but let's finish this. So from a technical point of view, even though my 92 level hasn't played well in the daily, so it's only a weekly level, what I would say is there's clearly a lot of interest to keep it up. A lot of buying from Sailor of all people, obviously, whose average is very attackable now. But fundamentally, what we're seeing is just a consolidation after a breakdown. So a reclaim, another reclaim, and I think you just gotta buy it with some aggression. I mean, I wouldn't even, and just see if it goes off. So I think that really makes a lot of sense, and I will hold it, and I probably buy it higher than here if it breaks out. But yeah, but I do think the risk it breaks down is very, very strong. So we saw in the monthly and the weekly this kind of, let's go back to the other chart just because it's easier. We saw in the monthly and weekly this kind of 71 to 68 region that plays in the monthly and also on the weekly. So I would not, I think any kind of buy around, honestly, I think it's more of a region buy. You just buy anything from 72 all the way down to 62. But low leverage spot buys above 92k or 72k to 62k. I think if anything, it goes down here. Any kind of dip will just be a one candle wonder. So I think you can reasonably buy anything 72 to 62. And at the very least, you'll get some sort of reversion unless the whole world ends. And, something to talk about 5 sigma events. Or worse. So yeah, I just don't think this is very interesting. There's been no volatility. Interest is low. It's hard to make money. I don't think it's even worth 10 minutes of your time. Let's look at F quickly. F is even worse. F still in range on monthly and 3 monthly. And it just took liquidity above. So, you know, if you kind of take that view, like this is the range top and this is the range bottom, which actually plays really well. Wow, look at that. It's range. This is a logarithmic chart, so it looks a bit uneven, but it's fine. I just think log plays better. That's wild. I didn't even realize that around mid-range now. Wow. So the break of the mid-range really looks problematic. Obviously, I don't think you can look. I think 1,000 is a clear buy if you ever get it. By you waiting that long, I don't think you should. It broke down from this trend line that I've been following since 2023, 2022. Yeah, even marked in high time frame trend. So this breakdown was really terrifying to me. Broke down the mid-range, broke down, and then, you know, just as random things. So I always bid it excessively to the low side because that's the only time I can be comfortable or I play low time frame. So on the weekly, I guess it's trying to hold this. Look, this is a level I've had marked on the low time frame charts. You can see it's got a lot of resonance here, here, here. And clearly still got resonance right now, but you know, I'm just not that interested in it. I don't think it looks good on these time frames. I mean, you can go a bit lower and say, look, if it starts putting in something above where it's kind of stopped 3,300, you know, maybe there's something there. 3,300 flip. But apart from that, like, $1,100 is range low, which feels very far, so I don't think this is the time frame for it. There's been a lot of resonance around 1,500, so that could be an early bidding place on the 4 hour, on the daily, sorry. But I don't think F is worth your time. Let's look at Sol, because I think Sol is worth some time. Alright. So you can see the bids I was looking at. Once again, this is a log chart, so it looks weird, but that's actually 1.61 RR. I think the point is the range is so huge. It's still holding, but this is a lot of taps, and I'm not invested. I think a breakdown and a reclaim is playable. So breakdown and reclaim of 125. My original trades here have just, yes, one got filled, but that was in November, and we're still here. I hate it. No volatility. Probably gonna close out. I do think the other play, and I'll show you why, is 93, and I think that's still valid. Liquidity take 93 / breakdown. Just because they need liquidity. But breakdown and a reclaim still has some work, and I don't think, and yes, on a price basis it's still technically in range, but fundamentally because of coin excretions this isn't even close, much more than F. So I think Sol is worth looking at. I'll quickly run through some others that I've got my eyes on. Let's look at this. New coins are absolutely getting dumpstered. XPL got run up and then died. Mon didn't even get run up, just died. It's probably easier to show you on the Bybit chart. Yeah, I mean there's a bit more here, but fundamentally this was pre-launch, and into launch it didn't have much. And yeah, congrats, you're stuck below where you launched at for some sales, 2,500. So I don't. So this was the original one, didn't hit. I think a reclaim at 2,500 is the only play on Mon. But as you can see, we've done nothing. Even this move. Oh, great! You did 18%. Awesome. Not enough. Not enough for this kind of shitcoin, this kind of risk. It's spot risk. XPL, I've spent some time looking at, but I think I'm just not invested. There was one more that I've been paying attention to, I believe. Lit. I think, let me go through Lit and Hyperliquid at the same time. So Lit launched, same like Mon, and it's just getting bid down. So what are we seeing? New coins being bid down. No liquidity, interest is low. It's just not there. Also, I wonder if the meta on dexes is kind of expired. Variational is now getting farmed, but looking at Lit, yeah, you could maybe make it back, but it's not really outsized returns. Hyperliquid is slightly more interesting, but only because this chart doesn't show. Here. Hype. It came, it took the wick. So this is why I think Sol is good at 93, because they're clearly liquidity hunting still. Took the wick and went. Visibility daily. Cool. So, I mean, hung around for a little bit, but you know, it's pretty classic. There was support here, as I guess there were support the first time. They took liquidity and they reversed in a hurry. There was also a launch of gold / others. However, skeptical because FTX did it, and it wasn't actually backed by anything. So I haven't looked into it too much, and it's not top of my list to look into. If anyone knows whether it's legit, are they actually holding underlying? It feels sketch. So I think it's an excuse for them to have pumped it up from the low. It looks like a big candle, and it is. It's 50%. And honestly, I had an idea to to bid this, but I haven't been paying much attention because it's been boring as hell. And if you go down other coins, they may not have done so well when they got here. Like here, I mean, took the wick and it's just been dying. Zach, we want to talk about. I mean, died from the wick. That there wasn't really. I mean, like way under the wick. LTC is not even at the wick, but doesn't look good. So I'm paying too much attention. I think opportunities are scarce. Hype was a good one just because it gets interest and there's money there, but like it's now near the top. It's potentially shortable. Actually, there's probably play here-ish. Something like that. Don't hate it. 27 to 35. Bid 27 27, you know, it stops like, you know, just somewhere. Every up 50%, and it just shows you how much it's died from the top. Liquidity's getting pulled out, and now, yeah, it was a good run. It's a very, very PvP market, but yeah, there was a play here, which I approved of, but was AFK from. Cool. I think that's underlying crypto. Let's look at gold. So, people losing their minds, as they should. That's ridiculous. That's an asymptote in gold. Let's log it down so it, you know, we can compare better. I mean, even historically, that's a huge asymptote. You can see from interest is very high. And one thing I did notice is, you won't see it at this time scale, but if you look at when it's pumping, it's always daily open, generally. Daily open's the big moves. Here, 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 I mean, and then good job US spinning it down before once again it popping. So just over and over again, it's clear that Asian markets are pushing into gold and and silver. Silver's, yeah, I mean, again and again and again. I mean, big move down, but leading into nowhere again and again. So there are some moves in other times, but it's, in my view, Asia-led. Like, things are crazy. I can show you some other stuff like platinum and copper and all sorts, but fundamentally the story is the same. We're having a currency debasement. When you compare it to, you know, Swiss francs, I mean, Swiss francs are on the perennial rise. Let's have a look. Yikes, what's that? Oh. Forever. Because there's just been a massive amount of currency debasement. Except the Swiss, for some reason, are doing it a lot less than everyone else. So, I mean, the game works when everyone plays, but not everyone is playing anymore. So, massive debt issuance. You can't have all of these on the rise, and SPX, you know, at all-time highs. You know, color me shocked. I mean, adjusted for the currency, it's not that good. And, you know, there's other emerging markets which I don't touch, which are just doing better. Even the FTSE's doing alright. Yeah, I mean, like, look at that. Just been on an absolute tear. Potentially catch-up trade, but also a non-US trade. Check your exchange and have a look. So we've got asymptotes everywhere. Exchanges at all-time high. So what's the catch? And there's two catches that I have looked at, and I don't know if I'm right. This is just a guess because it's just wild to me what's been going on. I mean, US yields are still holding. Ten-year US is not aggressively increased, or UK, but all these countries have started shortening their debt anyway, which is just wild to me. And fundamentally, the story is DXY. It is down massively month on month on month. We're starting to see this is clear exiting from the UK. People are getting out of dollars and into other things. Yes, you can say that in 2021, we had a much bigger move to the upside, and a lot of people got into dollars. But ever since then, it's been pretty steady. But now we've had a move out, and I think there is 12% down since, yeah. And I think this is some suppression, so there's something very funky going on, and it's very terrifying. So generally, my recommendation is scalp, tightly follow trends, but don't bet the farm. If you got into gold and silver when it was popping, when I was AFK, good job. I think those are great. I had a lot of gold and silver I had to sell down here. Actually, here. Which was very frustrating, as you can imagine. But these markets are also playing like they have a lot of liquidity very traditionally. This hasn't even retested anything, so you've got a lot of very interesting structures you can play with, but only for scalps unless you cut on. And I think that's kind of it on the charts. Let's just quickly go through some other info. Let's see if this is working. Yeah, so Bitcoin continues to exit, in my view, from an ETF point of view, but Saylor is doing his absolute darndest to keep it up, and his average is now 76k, which is just wild. He has issued a new instrument, instantly bought everything, trying his best to hold this up, and he may succeed, especially with debasement of the currency. I think there is a risk money flows back into BTC, which it isn't in right now. It's just how you get in, right? Do you wait for a retest or the range low and hold? There's some risk here. I mean, everything, I'm not saying everything's going to collapse, but there's got to be a percentage chance that happens. From a volume point of view, I mean, open interest is creeping up again when nothing's happening. So that makes me think liquidity takes are going to happen. On F, same story. I mean, wow. Just wow. From a fundamentalist point of view, there's been no attack on Bitcoin from a buy-wall perspective. There's been no real movement. It's not gone anywhere where anyone's interested. There's interest down here a little bit in 84. It's not there. I mean, couldn't even touch this 85, 86k wall at Binance. So buy walls, where I think are a good place to do business, haven't been touched. I don't think there's been anything much going on. Funding is a bit low, so it means people are overly shorting. Just wondering how. So yeah, okay, this is kind of bias short, I guess, very slightly in the short term. But don't know. So yeah, I think this is it. I mean, there's been debasement of the US currency. The president is doing a bit of weird things. I mean, people diversifying risk, and it looks to be Asia-led, and in which case we've only seen a small amount of money flow into these metals. Could go absolutely asymptotic more than this, but I'm not touching it. Not here. Not here. Down here where I was touching it was great. You can see my wonderful red line, was not touching gold because I didn't think the risk return was there. It was never very pretty. I mean, there was maybe this where it was kind of just putting higher lows in until it breached, and then you can just get in 2300. But I mean, too much based on political machinations for me. And if you got down low, I would have been scaling out a little bit and keeping the rest for, you know, doomsday. But yeah, alright, so that's it, guys. Thanks, bye.